Back in 2022, I decided to get good at art. I was drawing throughout all of my life, but only considered it as a hobby and never spent too much time on it. Maybe just drawing a couple of times in a week, generally speaking. So I started to study. I consume every art study material available. A couple of months go by, and I'm still bad. I was following the conventional beginner art advice and drew gestures, some figures, and doing it all from reference. Although I would still be somewhat proud of the results I was getting, I couldn't get rid of the feeling that all I'm doing is just like copy work. All the artists I admire seemingly have this superhero ability of drawing anything they want from imagination alone. It doesn't seem like they use reference. Well, if they can do it, then I certainly can do it too, right? Let me just start by drawing a bunch of heads from imagination and see how much I improve. I still have some drawings from reference marked with R, and the ones marked with M mean that I was trying to recreate some specific character from memory. I was off to a good start, drawing some heads and well, it seems that my mind still would wander off and want to draw other stuff as well. So I decided that from that point on, I would just store everything that is not a head in another file. More on that later. What I realized first is that varying line thickness doesn't help me focus on the important things such as perspective and form, so I switched to a brush with constant line thickness. That immediately made my drawings look better. I finished 100 heads and felt good about myself. I already saw some progress, so I felt like I wanted to continue, and that I did until after around 100 heads, it felt like it was hopeless. The heads were turning out even worse than what I had at the start. I couldn't figure out why. I was going backwards. I even got so mad I tried to draw an ugly head on purpose. Ironically, it turned out to be the best head on that page though. It was only when I stopped and asked myself, what the hell am I trying to draw? When I slowed down, thought, and visualized the outcome I want to get. That's when I finally got something I was satisfied with. And then I did it again and again. Crazy, right? Drawing from imagination requires imagining something before you put it onto canvas. The problem was that I was not thinking. I was just mindlessly rushing through each drawing in hope that the next one will magically turn out to be better than the previous one. I thought that reaching higher quantity of drawings faster will make me better faster, but that's just not how it works. It's not just about the quantity, it's about quality as well. Even to this day, whenever the drawings start to turn out bad, I have to remind myself to slow down and think before making any strokes. Let's talk about taste or vision. Your vision is the ability to distinguish between good and bad drawings, and it improves first. Knowledge and mechanical skills usually follow. So, how do you improve your vision? Analysis and exposure. Seeing great pieces of art will naturally improve your standards. And when you see your old drawings, your brain will subconsciously compare what you saw and what you have in front of you. Even though comparing your art to others can get toxic sometimes, I think that it can be very beneficial for your growth. You have to analyze the things you see. Any piece of good art should elicit some sort of an emotional response when you look at it. What sort of response is it? Whenever you see something, analyze it. What do you feel? Is it good? Is it bad? If it's good, then what do you think makes you feel good about it? Is it the line quality, the shape language, the colors, texture? Take a mental note of that. If you think something doesn't look good, you should also take note of it. That's how you improve. Let me show you a quick example of how I would take note of my mistakes and fix them in my old drawings. I have this old drawing of a male head. Something bugs me off. After some tinkering, I found out that it's the tilt of the face and chin proportions. Another example, the proportions look off to me. The eyes are too high, so I moved them a bit lower and made them simpler so it fits with the overall style. I also made the forehead a little less gigantic. That's just an example of how your vision improves. You don't necessarily have to fix it, just noticing the mistake is enough. Even though I call it drawing from imagination, imagination alone is not enough. Or I think I should say that imagination is not self-reliant in one shape or form, but imagination is still reliant on your memory and knowledge. So if you don't know how a thing exactly looks or works, you'll probably have a very hard time trying to draw it correctly from imagination. That means that besides just looking at cool drawings to improve your vision, you also have to expand your knowledge and study educational materials. Watch YouTube tutorials, courses, read educational art books, like actually read, don't just look at the pictures. And even if you want to draw stylized stuff only, you still will benefit a lot from studying realistic anatomy. Stylization is a skill in its own, and it still has rules behind it that are usually based on real life on one way or another. Repetition. Some people don't like repetition and deem it boring, and yes, I do understand that sentiment, but even though I was drawing the same subject over and over again, I never quite felt bored, and I believe this is because heads allow for so much room to experiment. Heads in in itself is a difficult topic, but it's also an exciting one. There are so many types of eyes, noses, eyebrows, lips, bone structures, hairstyles in real life, and even more ways to stylize and combine them in unique ways. Could you do the same with other body parts? Maybe? Although I don't think I'd be able to entertain myself to the same extent if I were to draw hands or feet only from imagination, but maybe it's just me and I need to expand my knowledge on them. At least I know some of you guys out there can get very excited about these things. So now I reached 1000 heads. Seems like a great milestone, right? Kind of. And although I did see and feel the difference in my skills compared to when I just started, it still felt like I wasn't quite there yet. Almost like I finished a great first season of some anime and it's unknown if there's gonna be a second one. So I thought, okay, I'll just keep going and see what happens when I reach 2000 heads. Usually, it is expected that you see more progress in the beginning of learning any skill, but I saw more progress in the last 1000 heads compared to the first 1000 ones. I don't really know the exact reason, but it feels like my drawings just got better on average and my drawing skill felt more consistent. Maybe it's thanks to the fact that at the start of the last 1000 heads, I switched to a larger pen tablet and it allowed for a faster development of my skills. In any case, I think I felt more comfortable with my head in general, so my focus shifted to even more experiments with hair. With time and experience, as your skills grow, you become more confident with your art. Not only you become better, but it also gets easier, I would say. It gets the more fun the more you do it. Oh, and by the way, you actually need to have fun. What's the point if you're not having fun? Great advice, I know. If you're homeless, then just buy a house type of advice. But really, try to have fun. It's gonna help you with your process. Because thinking about it, the best drawings I did were the ones I had the most fun with. So how do you have fun? Unfortunately, I can't teach you that. That's something you'll have to figure out on your own. Every time you step out of your comfort zone, the ultimate goal is to make it become your new comfort zone. When I initially started, I was not really that comfortable with how my heads were turning out. Well, nothing much was really a comfort zone for me back then, but now you could say that heads became a sort of comfort zone right now. And whenever that happens, you want to naturally start to expand it and find ways to break out. Heads start to become easy, focus on hair. Hair becomes easy, focus on something else. Hair is still something I struggle with though. And once again, I reached my destination. Am I satisfied now? Well, yeah, I think so. I learned a lot throughout the way and think that now I'm ready to move on to some other topics. Time to draw the heads combined with the rest of the body. Alright, getting back to the point I made in the beginning. Here's how the bodies I drew from imagination look like. What I found interesting is that although I did not do that many of them compared to heads, just like 3 pages, they still improved a lot over time, similarly to heads, in my opinion at least. I think it's thanks to the fact that learning art fundamentals through drawing heads also translates to drawing other stuff as well. As long as you have enough knowledge on that other stuff, that is. Since I wouldn't be able to draw bodies like that without knowing at least some anatomy from reading the books. So does that mean I'm no longer drawing heads? Well, not really. It seems that I just can't stop drawing them anymore. But at least now I don't restrict myself to heads only and try to draw more of other stuff too, as well as drawing from reference more. After all, there's so much more stuff to learn in art, like hands and feet and composition and color and light and texture and rhythm and value. Okay, bye. See you in 8 years when I finish 10,000 heads. Oh, you're still here? I guess you can click on this video if you want to see all the 2000 heads.